Good morning. This is Eric Jones. I work for an organization called Project Reentry. I'm also a contractor for the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. I work with justice involved individuals and have been doing so for about 6 years. I've been working in the substance abuse field for 8 years, and I've been working in the human field for many years. I work with those who are in prison, who have been released from prison, those who are on probation, those who are on parole. I work with all of the above. I've entitled this clip "Splashing Hope in the Darkness." The reason I called it that is because no matter what we do, no matter who we work with, we do not know what anyone is facing. We don't know what anybody goes through. We can't see inside of them. It's like darkness. But we're called to splash hope. We're called to impart hope into people's lives. I have seen so many who have come to me. One young man specific. He came to me as a referral from his probation officer. He was angry, very resistant. He'd always sold cocaine and thought that was fine. He had been through much tragedy in his life, had lost a baby. He was fearful and angry. And I kind of stood up to him and said, okay, let's just become friends. Let's just have a conversation. So we talked, and he came back to class the next week. Then the next week, the more he came, the softer he became, the more friendly he became. Eventually, after a few months, he became my best friend. And one of the things he wanted to show me was his kids. One night he brought his kids to class afterwards and introduced me to his kids. And it felt really good to introduce myself to his kids and tell them what a great father they had. I saw this young man rise up like a blooming flower. I saw him come out of that darkness, out of that shell. And at the end of our time together, he was a totally different person, and it was amazing. Another young man that was a part of my prison class. I have a class every week in the prison when it's open. He came through the program, and he was released eventually, and he came to see me. We had a standing appointment. When he's released, he comes to see me. And so he was excited because he had work release money, and he had enough cash to buy himself a vehicle and a trailer to live in. And so we were excited for him and about his future. He came back to see me 3 months later, and he was distraught, fearful, afraid of he was going to be arrested. Because his roommate had brought drugs in the house, and some other people had been using drugs in the house, and he was afraid that it was going to pull him back in. But we talked, and he ended up being transferred to his hometown. And he got a job. He started driving a dump truck. We kept talking periodically, and he ended up getting a job driving an 18-wheel truck cross country. And the next thing I know, I see him on Facebook. He's driving around the country, different places. He's happy. He comes driving up in our parking lot one day, and we talk out in the parking lot, and he's so excited. He's able to make enough money now to help his grandkids, to buy them things, to help his kids. He's no longer the unwanted grandpa or dad, but he was so excited. He's so happy, and he's been going this way for years now, several years. No sign of stopping. Those are stories that really warm my heart. I've seen young ladies who've been through severe abuse, in their life, bloom out like a flower. One lady I'm thinking about at the moment, she went through my program, stayed in my class a few months, and I saw her become stronger. Her smile came back. And eventually, after she was out, she became pregnant. She would come by the office. When her baby was born, she came by and showed us the baby. And she was here last week. She came by, and she's happy to be a mother now. She is so excited about being a mother. And her life is totally changed. She was able to escape her prison. That's the name of the book we have, How to Escape Your Prison. It's a take on words, but it's an inner prison. It's the prison of darkness, the things in our lives that try to keep us down, that try to keep us out of the things that we have potential for, like happiness and joy, excitement. You know, excitement of driving that new car, whether it's a used car or whatever, new to you car, the excitement of moving into a new place, the excitement of having children. So many things the individuals, the population I work with, miss out on because of consequences from their actions. Maybe they made some wrong choices. Maybe they became addicted. A young lady I worked with several years ago, she would not open up and talk. She had an addiction to opioid drugs. And we would meet once a month and talk. She wouldn't open up. And I kept trying to, I felt like I was splashing hope into nothingness. Finally, one day, she opened up. She had been abused sexually by a tutor for 2 to 3 years when she was in second, third, fourth grade. She had told her parents and they wouldn't listen to her. They wouldn't believe her. She grew up with that. Became addicted. Ended up in prison. Became addicted to drugs. Got out of prison. Ended up going to a store one day and saw this person in the store that had abused her. And it threw her into such a emotional flurry that she went home and she went in the closet, hung herself. Before she died, someone found her and was able to rescue her. This young lady, it was so hard to have her open up because she was so angry, so hurt, so bound up. And finally, we made some progress. We're not going to make all the progress every time, but we made progress. And the last time I saw the young lady, she was smiling and she was happy. She was able to move to a different level of life. We all have opportunities every day. We all have opportunities to encourage somebody, to splash hope in the darkness. You don't know what anybody's going through. You don't know what they're facing. But encouragement, smiling, any way we can to bring life into someone's being. That is our position. That is our call on this earth. There's some sad times. A young man, he was in my class a couple of times. And one Tuesday evening, he was discussing his addiction and was talking about his struggles. And I tried to encourage him and tried to help him formulate a plan. If those drugs became available, what would he do, you know? That was Tuesday. The following Sunday night, I got a call from another participant. That Sunday morning, his mother had went to his bedroom to wake him up, and he was gone. He had passed away. He had overdosed that night on his drug of choice. I called the mother, and she was distraught. And I asked about a memorial service, and she told me the details. So I went to the memorial service, and I sat there, and it was the saddest service I've ever been to. The mother was just uncontrollably crying the whole time. And so at the end, I walked up, and I just wanted to be discreet, introduce myself. The father was there. I introduced myself and told him who I was. And he lightened up, and he said, "I've heard of you. He talked about you all the time. I want to tell you thank you for what you've done for my son." And at that moment, I was not able to receive that because my heart was wrenched and hurt. I thought, what have I done to help him? He died. I didn't save him. But I had to step back from that and realize that, we can't control everybody's actions, but we can make their lives a little better along the way. We can splash hope in the darkness. And maybe some words I was able to say to him made his life a little more enjoyable, even though he lost the battle. But I left that service with a renewed heart to help as many people as I can. Another young man this past week, I found out passed away. He'd been in my classes twice. I don't know what happened to him. His life had a lot of pain and heartache in it. And he had lost a son in a tragic accident. And he never got over that because he could not get past not being the father he was supposed to be when his kids needed him. But I tried to encourage him. And I tried to splash hope in the darkness. And hopefully his life was a little more enjoyable until he passed away. Every day we live, we meet people. We meet them in the grocery store. We meet them in restaurants. Wherever we may go, we meet people. We don't know what they're going through. Splash some hope in the darkness. Realize that you can change their day just by smiling, encouraging, whatever you can do. Today I want to encourage you all to walk in hope, walk in peace, walk in joy, and splash hope in the darkness. Thank you.